Alright. What is up, guys?
Welcome back
To another episode.
to motherfucker podcast.
Yeah. So, today's episode is pretty deep. Obviously, it's September, so it's Suicide Awareness Month. Big month. A lot of people definitely, I wouldn't say overlook it, but don't really look into it. And I'm sure almost everybody has had an experience with it. We're going to talk about ours today, and a little bit personal stuff. Stuff I really haven't actually told anybody personally. I mean, some people know about it. There's some other in-depth stuff I'm going to open up about. I think that's important and like people should know about. But yeah.
Where do you want to start? You want to start giving like little info about it? You want to follow that? Yeah. So basically, September is, as we were saying, Suicide Prevention Month, and like the past week was actually like where I think in 1974 when this like started.
Mm-hmm.
It was September 10th, and since then, September's been that month where like everybody try to like give people information, try to make this like I don't want to say normal, but like make this normal for people so they can speak about it and feel because a lot of people they don't talk about it. They're depressed. They have all these thoughts, and they don't share with anybody, and then they fucking kill themselves out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So.
Well, usually you'll never know unless you
Yeah.
ask them straight up. I went through courses with the military. Thankfully, they offer stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where we're able to go to a course and then they teach us how to like approach people who are feeling suicidal and make sure that you get them the help they need. And I took that course very seriously. I think a lot of people do. It's a big thing in the military, especially.
Yeah.
It happens a lot more than you think it would.
And
not saying that it doesn't happen out in the civilian side of things, but I know that it's a big thing in the military because the way we're treated, the things we go through, especially on the enlisted side.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my wife is in the Navy, and like that shit happened so many times, like on the ship. I think especially like when you're like on the ship and stuff like that.
No, definitely on the ship because you're
It's
with
like-
family.
Yeah.
You don't have food's not that great. Living conditions aren't great. You're out there sailing the ocean. I haven't done it yet personally. I've requested a couple times, but it's things you hear about. One of my friends recently just went through a whole situation with it, and he's getting out of the Navy because of it. And I said, good for you, because it's something you need.
It can be a toxic environment for sure.
Yeah, you can't. To a degree, you can't let things like do that to you. As much as you may love like a job or something, you can't let that be like something that destroys you. So.
Right. So I know you wanted to share a little bit of your experience today.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
So,
you want to start with your own experience? You want to start?
I'm gonna start with my mother.
Right.
So when I was 7, she committed suicide. Actually, it was literally 2 days yesterday. She died on September 16th, 2009. I remember everything that happened that day. Coming home from school and
How old were you?
I was 7.
7.
Yeah, I said that already. Coming home from school and me, my 2 sisters, and my dad were in the car, and we got a phone call, and then dropped us off at the babysitters, and that we used to go to as kids, and I remember the words that came out of his mouth was "oh shit" in the car. I was like, "What happened? What happened?" Like I was like, just a curious kid, and
Right.
I got home, and that night my grandparents picked us up, and we got home, and I kept asking my father where my mother was, and he said she was sick and she had to go away. But when you're 7 years old, you don't know how to adjust to things like that. And I guess like I had a lot of hatred at the time for him for not telling me straight up. But then again, when I was 7 years old, I don't know how I would have taken it. I found out around like when I was 15, 16 that she committed suicide in the garage. She she uh, got rid of all the oxygen, started the car, closed the garage doors, and my grandmother found her. And me and my grandmother just talked about it the other day, and it's a rough thing. You'd think that the pain would subside, subdue, and you'd be better, and things would get better, but it really doesn't. And I'm like kind of like nervous, laughing, smiling right now because like I don't know how to feel about it. Like it's like something that I don't. I've opened up to a couple therapists about, and really my grandmother is the only one that understands. And I've had people tell me, "Oh, I understand," and that's one thing I learned while going to a therapist was that you don't truly understand what somebody's going through.
Right.
You have an idea of what that pain is like, but you don't know how they're
Yeah,
experiencing it.
for each one is different. It can be the same thing, but for each one is different the way they felt it.
And like for me, like I'll always tell people, no, you don't understand.
Right.
Like if you understood like the pain I'm going through, like you would, or like that suffering, that hurt, like you'd be in the same mental spot that this dark place, or is like suffering constantly in pain, like just like why, like what happened, and there's nothing I can do about it, and that's where like I turn to God and I turn to my grandmothers and I talk to them about it a lot more because they're able to kind of help me through this like these rough patches every now and then. But it's been 14 years and it seems like I posted something. I'm gonna say the same quote again. Is I've now known my mother's memory 2 times longer than I got to know her, which was like super deep to me. That has been 14 years. If you'd asked me, and this is where I'm gonna get into my personal experience, if you'd asked me when I was 14, 15, if I would live to see 21, I wouldn't. Growing up, I had a rough childhood. Uh, I had a good childhood, but a rough one. Uh, I was a little shit of a kid, always causing trouble. Uh, my father eventually remarried, and she was a nice lady at first. And when I didn't become the type of son that she wanted, that she searched for, I think that she wanted me to become somebody that I wasn't, and I wasn't okay with it. And I've been verbally abused and physically hit, and there's times when I understood when it was okay, and some people will be like, "No, that's not okay," but there was times when I would do stupid things, and I don't know, as a parent, like from that perspective, where you might give a little love tap, like "What the fuck," type of deal, but there was times when it was a little more than that. I was very concealed to the house, always being bossed around, worked for my parents growing up a lot, and it was rough. Um, Granted, it wasn't the worst childhood. I know there's people out there that have had a lot worse than I have.
Right.
So I'm not saying it's the worst. But between that and suffering with my mother, I never really took therapy serious. My father kept putting me through it, and I thank him for that as well. Because eventually, as I grew up, I took it serious. But put me through therapy, and there came a time when I had found a girl that I was like super serious with in high school, partially because that missing piece of my mother not being in my life, I was looking for that type of love, and my stepmother wasn't there. She didn't fill a spot. And it was rough. And eventually, when me and that girl broke up, a lot of the pain and suffering just kind of hit, and I suffered for like 2 3 weeks, and I didn't really like tell anybody like what was going on, and like one of my best friends, Maxon, like he knew something was up because like I had like these major mood swings, and I was all over the place, and uh, I tried to take my own life, and I went through a whole ordeal, seeing therapists and doctors, and it was it was a shit show. They tried to put me on medicine, and I said no to it because it affected me in ways I didn't like, and it was rough. Um, but guess like what I took from all of that was that like now as I've grown into the semi-mature adult I am, that there's options that you have.
Right.
And a lot of people don't like see those things.
Yeah.
And I think it's big. Thankfully that I did now, dude. Like, cause like there's a lot of things if I didn't see a therapist or talk to somebody about it, like, what like I don't know what I would do. But now that I've been able to like know like there's options to things like there's people that are here to help you, people love you, like stuff like that. Like when you get into that mindset of like suicide, like at least for me when I was there, it was like a pure hopeless feeling. Like you're like empty inside your chest, like you feel like there's no love, nobody loves you, um, and that's when you just kind of want to give it all up, and that's how I felt. Everybody goes through it differently, and nobody should have to go through it. Um, uh, yeah.
Somehow that shit gets in your mind. You know, as you were saying, it's different for everyone. But when like during those dark moments, you know, shit just gets to your mind. Like those thoughts, they drive in your mind, and you think about that. You try. Or some people don't get to try it. Some people actually try to take their life. It's tough, man.
Oh, it definitely is. I don't know. I'm not really gonna dig more into that.
It's fun.
Kind of put that stuff down in the past, but I've been there. It's been quite a few years, and I hope I'm making my younger self proud because younger me would probably didn't even think I'd be here. So
Definitely, man. No, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Um, and thank you for sharing this for me, with everyone who's watching or listening to this. Um, yeah. About me,
yeah, I was gonna need your experience.
yeah. I mean, when my mother died, it was like after 3, barely 4 years. Um,
And you two are
back,
super tight too.
yeah,
In case you guys didn't know, we talked about that like 2 podcasts ago. We talked about that, so they were super tight, and I wish I understand. I was too young to like have that connection, but
right.
I had that connection. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, we're actually tight. And after battling with cancer for 3, 4 years, um, obviously, kind of was already on my mind where like she was gonna die. But then until the end, like the doctor were like, she beat cancer, like because it looked like she was getting better, like cancer was like, um, going away. Let's say. Then like shit happened. So she died, and the way she died, like kind of like was a good way for me, because basically like it was one of the day I would go to work, come back, one of my it depends like one of her sister was home like dealing with her. Then she left. I got home, shower. I get out of the shower. I was literally about to put my shirt on, and I was like, let me check on my mom. And like she was looking at the door, like trying to like wait for me to get there. So I didn't even put my shirt on. I jump on the bed, I hold her hand, and she just died. So I had those last 5 to 10 seconds to feel her like hand like hold me, whatever, and then she died.
Yeah.
And for me in that moment, it was a good way, because like if I would go to sleep and found her dead, I don't know what I would do that night. So that happened.
She held on just
Yeah, just a little like 10 seconds. And like I want to see my son. I don't know what the fuck happened, but bro, it went like that, and I'm like, fuck.
Super traumatic.
Yeah,
Super traumatic.
but yeah, she died. She basically died on like holding me. And then like my family was really close to me. They helped me a lot. But like behind that, I was like obviously like feeling like shit. And basically the whole year after, I tried to took my life like many times. It would be, I don't know, whatever. Taking meds, trying to like crash with the car, all the dumb stuff that I could do, I would try it. But then at the end, like I think it was my as I said last time, I don't know, like that survival instinct or like that thought at that last moment before just fucking crashing or something like that. I was like, I can't do this to myself. Like if she's watching or like I don't know whatever, like I can't do this to myself. So I will stop and then try again like another time. I didn't really talk about it with anybody. I didn't seek for help at all. Yeah, I just dealt with like with myself. One thing that really helped me was the one book. It's called the I think Power of Now. It's a really good book, and it's like thought like it's a different book. I never read something like that, but it actually helped me a lot. And the focus is like you need to um like stop living in the past because obviously like you can't change anything that happened before, and from now the power of now you can make choices, and like based on that like your life is gonna go some type of way. And it's a really like deep book and I love it. I read it like multiple times, and that helped me a lot because I was like living in that pain, and I'm like always like asking why, and I'm like wake up, fucking crying, go to sleep, playing crying, and I'm like I can't, I don't want to live anymore. Like I don't want to live without my mom. Like we were really really close, like almost obsessed about each other. That was kind of like the relationship we had, and like I didn't see like life in front of me anymore. I was like, that what's the point of living? Like, I don't want to be with her. Like, I don't want to
It's
wake
just
up.
a
Yeah,
repeat of
like
every single day.
always in that fucking loop. And then, yeah, I don't know how I did it. I don't know if it was the book. I don't know if it was just like me, like self analyzing myself, trying to help myself. Obviously, working and like having people around me help me, like kind of like give me purpose. And I don't know. Then I moved like to another city, and a lot of shit happened. Um, and I still like after all those years dealt with it. Then I met my wife, and after her, like having her and my kid, literally changed my life.
Yeah.
When I had my son, like literally that night, it's like my heart was full again. So obviously, it's not gonna like having my son, having my kids, my wife. Like it's not gonna fill up that hole that not even my mom did. But it actually gave me purpose in life again. Like once I met my wife and had my first kid, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like that's the meaning of my life.
Mhm.
Now it's just fucking grind and go, just from here. But yeah, I know like me, there's a lot of people who don't seek for help. Some people, maybe like me, they just do fine and just deal with it. Some people fucking kill themselves.
And quickly, I know he mentioned something about like working on his own with it. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Um, that's not a promotion to do that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna say that right
Mm.
now because you're never going to be able to understand your own feelings, uh, even if you try. Um, you will feel your feelings. You will feel your emotions. You will understand that you're in a bad spot, but you won't understand how to cope and deal with them.
Right.
You can read as many books, you can, watch as many videos, but what will help you is you sit down and you talk to somebody that's good with those specific types of things, and it could be a therapist, a psychologist. I think
Oh,
there's plenty of people that are good. That's their job. That's what they do. Um, Seek those resources.
always. Yeah.
Don't ever think that you're alone when it comes to that stuff. It's super important, and that's a big thing. Is like when you find somebody who is in these types of situations, you make sure that they understand that they are not alone,
Right.
because that is the first like feeling they're going to feel fully. Um,
Yeah, you feel like you're just by yourself. In that case, was like maybe your mother's. Like even if you have all those people around you, like you feel now you're alone. You're the only one feeling that, and like there's nobody who can actually help you. That's the way that most of us feel.
Yeah,
It's
generally
different for
yeah, I was
everybody.
gonna say generally the feeling is like you can surround yourself with people. Like say you're in a room and you're surrounded by people, but the room feels empty. That's like generally how like most people will feel.
Right.
It's a very common feeling to feel like you just you feel like you're there but you're not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
No, definitely. I think we're almost done with this. Before we actually end this, if you feel like you need help or you know somebody who actually needs help, and they've been talking about being depressed, don't want to like
right, don't want to keep
keep
going.
going, stuff like that,
They're very
please
reckless. Stuff
seek
like that.
for help, even if it's you or there's somebody that you know. There's a lot of numbers that you can call, like the 988, I think it is.
Yeah, 98. Be
That's
very
one of
direct
those.
about it. Like if
Yes.
it's a friend or a family member, like be direct about it. Be like, are you going to kill yourself? Do you
Right.
have thoughts of killing yourself?
Right.
And because like if you just are, you do feel like you're hurting yourself, you don't sound like you care. Like they're like, oh no, no. But when you're direct and straightforward, they're gonna be like, oh, maybe they care. And then it's a whole psychological thing. But
It
be
is.
straightforward with them, because at the end of the day, you could very well be the type of person that saves somebody's life, and you don't even know it. Um,
Definitely.
uh,
They give that's like five or four tips I think that they give you, and it's like be there for somebody. So yeah, ask them directly, and make them feel like there's somebody who can actually help them, keep them safe. So let's say like if they're around you, or like I don't know, you live in the same household, try to like hide or put away stuff that like they can hurt themselves with. um, Help them stay connected. So like show them this group,
yeah,
show them or like give their number for the hotline, stuff like that. Follow up. So obviously, after they open up about it and like what's going on, make sure that you check on them and see what they're doing, what they're feeling, if they actually connecting with this
yeah.
number, with this group.
Just check on them, but
Right.
make sure that the follow up is going to be more their plans of treatment, who they're going to see.
Right.
That's the whole point of suicide prevention. Is your goal is not to be their therapist or their their psychologist. Your goal is to get them the help they need, and then from there, let the therapist or psychologist do the work.
Right.
If you don't have a degree there, don't try to do it, because you could end up making something worse. The only thing that you need to do as a person is ask them, be there for them, keep them safe, and then get them connected to somebody who can give them the proper treatment that they need.
Definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. I think that was it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it. I know this we're trying to keep the podcast a little bit shorter, but hopefully, some people can relate to this one as well. I think that I know when we were brainstorming this idea, this was a big one, because we both have had the suicides within immediate family, and whether it's a friend, it's a family member, you never know. It could be somebody you work with. Suicide affects everybody. So make sure like when it comes down to these things that you take them seriously and don't take them lightly. Because at the end of the day, you could completely save somebody's life. Don't ever think twice. Uh, if I was older at the time, and this is something I used to say to myself, if I was older, I wish I could have known. I could have said something, but I can't. And I can't change the past. I can't live there. Sure, every time it comes around, I remember it. It's a hard thing to forget.
Definitely.
Same with a birthday, stuff like that. But these are things that don't be afraid to have that emotion come back. Things do get better eventually. Now there's times where I just remember her birthday and the day she died. That's it. Um, but I also remember all the good memories that we got to have together, even though I only was 7. So try to be positive always. That's the goal. When you smile, it's hard to be negative. That's what I tell a lot of people. They always ask me why I'm always smiling. And I say it's because when you smile, it's hard to be in a negative mindset. Your body just naturally releases something. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
it
but yeah, definitely.
but those are things. So
There's light at the end of the tunnel, always.
yes, even when you can't see it, you just gotta trust. So
Alright, guys.
it's been a pleasure. Again, I know that today was not the most upbringing topic, but next time I think I don't remember what we talked about. We're getting into, but we will get to that on the next episode.
Thank you for checking in.
Yes, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, comment, share, most importantly. And this is it for the Two Motherfuckers podcast.